All right. Now I'm going to welcome you all one last time to our first quarter of 2025 HOA board meeting. I'm going to pass it off to Jennifer Mahaffey to start us off.
Sure, I will go ahead and officially call the meeting to order at 4:04. And I do want to make an announcement. Takara is officially our association manager for our community. So she is in training and she's rapidly learning everything. It's been kind of a migration and it wasn't formal the last time we had a board meeting, but it is done and dealed and signed and sealed. So she is our association manager moving forward, and we are looking for another lifestyle manager to fill that vacancy, but we'll come to that a little bit later in the meeting. But I want to welcome her and congratulate her in her transition and growth in a new role. So I'm excited that she's continued to stay with the community, and she's a great asset for us. So we'll go down the agenda. The next item, Takara, do you have a copy of the agenda you can share?
I sure do. Let me share my screen.
All right. So the next line item is to approve the September 2024 meeting minutes. Some of you, this is repetitive information, but we always have new homeowners on these calls. So we always approve like meeting minutes at like meetings. So board meeting minutes at board meetings, owner election meeting minutes at owner election meetings, budget ratification at budget ratification.
Okay,
So,
etc.
Yeah, so here we are. These were sent over in the board packet. The board has had a chance to review. I need someone to make a motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
All right, all in favor?
Yay.
Aye. Yeah, so those were approved and all your meeting minutes are posted on the portal. So if you want to look back, they are all there. We made sure, actually Felicia was really helpful in assisting Takara in kind of doing an assessment of our documents on our portal, and we should be pretty up to date on all sorts of stuff there. So they are all there for you to review. So moving on. And then our next section on the agenda is our public comment. And so these are topics that people have submitted prior to the agenda going out of something they would like to discuss with the community or with the board or just present for general conversation. Michael Grant is today on the agenda and he's going to talk about some postal service issues. I believe I saw him on the call. So if you'd like to mute himself, there he is, right there on the screen. So Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jennifer. Can you hear me clearly?
Mhm.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'd like to invite the feedback of the community about the postal delivery service and whether they've had an acceptable response to any complaints or suggestions they've made directly to the postal service. I requested this opportunity because of my own experience with the disappearance of a 3-month supply of a Tier 3 medication that had been notified by the online pharmacy as having been delivered to my mailbox. In addition, the wide variation in delivery times from day to day and the other problems with misdelivered and delayed letters and packages is a constant irritation. I'm aware from conversations with and Facebook postings by other residents that my experience is not isolated, and individual complaints made to the Postal Service do not seem to have brought any sustained improvement. Most package delivery services and the USPS Informed Delivery Service provides notifications of completed delivery or imminent delivery, respectively. This allows a firm basis to support a complaint. The main explanation given by USPS is that Ovation is not on a permanent route, but is operated as a training and or a subcontracted route. So my question to the community is this: would you support a communal approach to the Postal Service? This could take the form of a petition or a pro forma letter campaign that could also provide space for a resident to note their specific issues. The hope is that this would be more persuasive than the individual complaints have been and would be a means to lobby hard to get a permanent route designation and a more consistent service. So that's my speech. Does anybody have any comments, either to support that idea, or do they feel that the service is good enough?
It looks like Smitty has her hand raised. Smitty, do you want to comment?
Yeah, I just had a question, Michael. Did they explain why we're a training route? Is it because we're not technically part of the city of Lacey?
No, that's not been explained to me. I suspect it was because we were new. But now we've grown, the situation has changed. I've been here 6 years, and a lot of people have too. It's been pretty consistent most of that time, but it seems like the complaints of missed or misplaced packages, that's increased, as I think the Postal Service's package business has increased with all the online purchasing that we do. What was most concerning was the loss of the medication. In this particular instance, I got an incredible response from the online pharmacy who replaced it overnight that day, but that was unusual in itself. Other people have lost items of value that are a concern.
Mike, in the group chat, two people have commented that they would support a group effort, just so you know, because I know you might not be
Okay.
looking at that chat.
And I didn't say, but I'd obviously be happy to help organize that, and would appreciate some other people who have similar experience to help and provide their input so that we do this right. We wouldn't be looking to vilify the post office, because that would be counterproductive, but to try and engage them in helping us with an improvement. And there may be things that we can do which will assist them. But I think the big thing here is to get recognized that we're big enough now to have our own regular postal route, and to expect that they'll be delivered within the same sort of window every day. A lot of people probably have to go back and forth if they're expecting something 2 or 3 times a day even. And some people aren't very near the boxes, so that's not always convenient, especially if it's raining.
So Michael, I'm looking for a solution for this. The HOA, when we write a letter to the postal service, or we make our voice heard, it turns out to be one voice. So I think what you're looking for is for a whole bunch of individuals to send in their personal complaint or concern to the same address at the postal service. Is that about right?
Yes. And there might be a couple of ways that we would do that. We would either just get people to sign a general letter that made most of the points that I've made and other people might make, that we could add to it, and then just add themselves as signatories, and we could have signatory pages circulated and collect and attach those to a single letter. We could come up with a pro forma if people would like to make their own individual comments, where we could make some general points and then leave a space, and they could fill their own comments in and then sign it. And we'd collect those together and maybe submit them together for impact. Open to how we would do this, and really, which is why coming to the community to get their opinion.
So how do you feel about a group of individual signatory pages left unattended at the desk at the villages?
Well, that might not be, that might, and this is the purpose of trying to get some feedback. That might not be an acceptable way to do it. But if people suggest that would be fine, we sign up for other things that way, then that would be one choice. The other would be to get some volunteers and go door to door and have people sign a letter. Go around with a clipboard. It's really a case of what people would be comfortable with, and we'll try and follow it that way.
So I'm pretty sure we want to avoid the door to door as much as possible.
Yeah.
So we can either do the signatory pages at the villages as one idea, or we can reprint what you've pretty much said in the newsletter and include an address for individual letters to go to, so that all the letters are going to the same person and bugging the same person.
And encourage them to do it, pretty much within a time frame. Yes, we could do that.
So do you have a preference?
I don't have a particular preference, other than I've got a feeling that if there is more of a concerted and concentrated effort, it will have more impact than each of us individually calling up, because that has no lasting impact to a service that frankly is short-staffed and challenged. We know that.
All right, so it sounds like you'd like the signatory pages and to lessen the impact on our own staff, if you can, we can make an announcement that the letter is available to read. We can even put the letter in an e-blast, but it's up to individuals to come to the villages, sign a signatory page and leave it there. And then, Mike, if you'd be willing every few days to come and pick up the stack of them.
I'd be
How about we
happy.
go that direction for a start?
Yes.
Would that be acceptable?
No, that would be acceptable. You know, whatever
Okay.
whatever the general consensus opinion is, you know, I mean, everybody's sort of sharing in the service, and people's experiences may vary. But if we could put it in the villages, maybe we could put it in the pavilion also.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to draft something and let you guys take a look at it, and you know, everyone's comfortable, then we'll go ahead.
Perfect. It sounds like we have a solution. I know a lot of the concern is that entire banks of post boxes are being left open. It's very infrequent, but it seems to have happened at least almost once to every single bank
Yes.
of mailboxes, and not on the same date. And it might be part of the whole, the training and not experienced
That's right.
postal carriers.
And the
Yeah.
fact that they change from day to day, and so there's no sort of experience and knowledge to build on.
So Mike, in the
Oh,
chat, a
yes.
couple of things came up. Someone said, in addition to the postal issue, those of us in the new portion Ovation are not recognized as an address by the post office. I don't believe this is the same issue. That is more, I think, a delivery service. That's a Google, Apple Maps too. So not quite the same, but I just wanted, for full disclosure, because not everyone
Okay.
has a separate window open up for the chat. So someone has mentioned that. And I think that's a little bit a slightly different mechanism. And then someone else said, should we have an address line next to our signature to prove that we are part of this development? So
Yeah. Well, that would be.
yeah.
We could leave that, and if people are not comfortable doing that, by the heading, it would imply that they were all residents within this community. If they chose to put their own particular address, then I guess we could leave room to do that, and that would be their option. I think we'll try and do this so that everybody is comfortable with how it's done, because we have some choices.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Does
Thank you
anybody
very
else,
much.
does anybody else have anything that they would like to add before we move on to our next topic? Okay.
Okay,
Well,
thank
thanks,
you.
Mike.
I'm going to leave the meeting now. I have
Yeah.
another thing, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. And actually, I love that we had a topic for this public comment section. It's been a little lackluster as of late. So
Okay.
this is what it's for. So this is great. So
Thank you.
thanks. All
Oh.
right. Oh, what?
Nope, go for it.
Okay. So the next section, we have titled Homeowner Submitted Questions. We only had one for this board meeting, so Kara is going to read it.
Yep. So the question that was received is, I would like to ask the board to look at whether we are in compliance with the RCWs regarding golf carts in our community and whether or not they should be allowed in Ovation, since our community is not attached to or affiliated with a golf course. Our roads are public roads, so it seems like golf carts are to be used to be used in our community. We should be complying with the RCWs. I don't see that we have any signage regarding golf cart zones, as mentioned in the RCW, or have any way to enforce the rules, such as licensing equipment on the carts, Department of Transportation signage, and assuring bike lanes are not being used by golf carts. Since we are not a golf community, I wonder if they should actually be allowed. It seems like the community and HOA should not be liable for the use of golf carts, the expense associated with compliance with the RCW or enforcement. I don't believe that that would be an appropriate use of HOA resources. Thank you for your review.
So this is a good question. And we don't have all the answers today on this one or all the details. So, and as far as like golf carts, golf cars, etc., on public roads, we do not have any jurisdiction or ability to regulate and have enforcement. So we won't be dealing with anything in the public roads, just as we've mentioned in previous incidents or things that kind of tie into this. If you feel like someone's doing something illegal or driving in an illegal vehicle on a public road, you should contact the sheriffs and their non-emergency department number. But what we can regulate are our common elements and our common areas within our community. So if we're speaking specifically to some form of a golf vehicle, cart vehicle thingamajig, that would be our pavilion parking lot, our village parking lot, and any HOA owned and maintained alleys. So those are our areas where we can enforce, put restrictions and regulations on. So we've actually reached out with this question. We reached out to our HOA legal, and we've already had dialogue and consulting on this because with the RCWs, those are very specific to public roads. And so those don't really necessarily apply to us, but we can use those RCWs as ways to create restrictions and regulations of said vehicles. So if we want to say that you have to have insurance, all these things, those are things that the HOA could put in place. So like I was starting to say, we've reached out to our association legal. We're getting guidance on what we could do and what other associations have done and been successful. So we plan on having an update, hopefully before, but we will definitely have a formal update on this prior to our April, I think it's 16th board meeting. So it's just it's more work in progress because we're just not going to put some regulations down and then be like, well, as of today, it's this. So it's going to be a little bit more of a thought out process if we choose to do any restrictions or regulations on those kind of things. I will say that, we do have a 3-car garage floor plan that has been introduced. I do think you'll see more of those type of vehicles. So this is great time for us to kind of think about this. With 814 homes, the likelihood of having a few more of those in the community is going to be a reality. And so, we're just consulting with legal, doing what they recommend, and then we'll approach the association with what we have kind of come up with. So I think it's probably not quite the answer they might have been looking for, but that's the start of a solution to that.
And
So more
just
go
just
ahead.
to read a comment that came through the chat, just so that it is recorded, it says golf carts should be allowed on our community property, electric vehicles versus carbon-based, and they take less energy and space. So that is a comment that came through the chat on that.
And what we've learned is there's varying levels of golf carts, golf cars, electric cars, carbon versus electric. So that's why it's going to take a little time to kind of delve into it and do what's best and, for our association. So more to come on that. But we do appreciate the question because I'm sure, someone asks it, there's other people thinking it. So thank you. Tara, do you want to start sharing the agenda again?
I sure
Thank
do,
you.
actually. So next on the agenda, we have the treasurer's report, which just so that everyone is aware, we are in the process of closing out 2024, which includes our December financials. So I was hoping that I would have those to be able to report on today, but I do not. So we are going to be reporting on our November 2024 financials. As Jennifer mentioned earlier, once those financials are available, they will be made public on the portal and shared. If homeowners have a desire for them, they can email me directly and I will make sure that they get those copies. So as of November 30th, 2024, the current account balances are total operating account assets, $838,138.85. Checking account is $146,293.60. The savings account, operating sweep account is $633,264.97. Other accounts, which is receivables, petty cash, and prepaid insurance, is at $58,577.28. Reserve fund is at $410,842.22. Delinquencies as of November 30th, 2024 was at $212.61. For your capital contributions, remind you that this is for November 2024. There were 9 homes that were closed in November for a total of $43,200 for your capital contribution, equaling a $211,200 total as of November 30th, 2024. for a total of 44 homes sold in 2024 as of November 30th. As of 1/15/2025, we have 380 owners on accounts on file. I understand that's slightly confusing going from January 2025 from November, but I appreciate your patience.
And Takara, maybe let them know when we get the
As soon as,
2025.
as soon as we get the update for 2025, I will make sure that that gets sent out to the community.
So for those of you who want to review the year-end financials, they will be posted on the portal, and then you can always reach out to Takara and she can send you a copy as well if you don't want to print it off the portal or look at it on the portal. So I will not forget I will not forget a committee today. I'm a little bit more on my game. So here we go. We're going to go to our committee reports, and Takara is actually going to read a statement on behalf of Bill Pate because he is out and about.
So thank you, Jennifer. Bill prepared this statement to be read on behalf of the Budget Advisory Committee. So as of January 1, the new chair of the Budget Advisory Committee is Bill Pate, replacing William Dickey. Fortunately, Bill is not with us tonight because as of right now, he and his wife are on a cruise on the Mississippi River. Several of the BAC members fulfilled their regularly or extended terms of service as at the end of last year and have stepped down. The current committee would like to extend their thanks and appreciation to William Dickey, Mary Alice Groban, Mike Collins, and Marlene Hoover for all of their hard work and commitment to the community budget process. As you see them around the neighborhood, please give them your thanks as well. With that, we did mention on our call to the community members to join our committee for the Ovation Nation newsletter that was published for the January, February edition. We would like to extend that timeline now to February to allow space for our upcoming board elections. At the time of this report, the December financial statements are not yet completed, but as of the November financials, the association is in good shape, and it appears that we will probably be slightly under budget for the year. As you know, the villages did not open as early as we had liked and projected, resulting in some savings in 2024 expenses. The savings were more than enough to offset the slight increase in budgeted landscaping costs. Also, the BAC will start our meetings in March of this year, and we are still looking for a few new members. If you are interested in helping with this important work, please see the article in the current Ovation Nation newsletter or reach out to Takara for more information. Finally, the entire BAC would like to thank the Ovation community for approving the 2025 budget at the last annual meeting. The committee worked very closely with Takara and other committees, NOVA, and the board to create what we hope will be a realistic budget for 2025. As homeowners, we don't like to see assessments increase in any more than you do. But as William has said many times, a fully funded HOA is an asset to the community, and an underfunded one is a liability. We currently have a well-funded HOA and intend to keep it that way for the future. Thank you, Bill Pate.
All right, thanks.
So let me share my screen to the agenda again. Give me 1 second to bounce back.
Well, ACC committee's next.
Correct, thank you. So I saw Smitty on the call, but is Smitty going to be perfect?
Yep, it's me. I made it back from work. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Cara. I wanted to let people know, in case they're not checking the portal frequently, we have posted new standardizations and new frequently asked questions. So they were posted at the end of December. They are now in effect. So going forward, you should reference those documents dated for December 2024 when you're planning anything that you want to do. And now's the time to plan because spring will be here before you know it. We've been lucky so far in it being dry, but you know, I know people like to plan well in advance. So make sure you're referencing the new documents. There are a couple of significant changes in there. One of which is that for initial side or backyard installations, this pertains to the new homeowners, but also for anybody who is doing a major renovation to a backyard that they currently have, we are now requiring diagrams for you to show us exactly what it is you want to do. Some of the requests that we're getting, they're just listing a bunch of stuff and it's not even everything. And we have no idea where you want to put things, how you want to design it. And it's really important that we understand that, because there are stipulations that are different depending on what you want to put in your backyard. It's not that we're trying to keep you from doing it. We just want to make sure that you're doing it in accordance with the rules and regulations of the development. So please make sure that if you're doing major renovations to your own backyard, or if you're doing that initial side and backyard installation, you include that diagram. It is now required. And I want to remind everybody, again, we do not have an expedited decision process. Do not send us an ACC request with a due date that you want to start a week from when you submit it. Okay, we have had issues with the portal. There were a couple times we haven't been able to access the application or access the documents that you attach, so that takes time. And then, you know, some of us work, some go on vacation, we get sick, whatever. But there's a reason for that 30 days, all right? So please, please, please make sure that you're adhering to that 30-day start date, you know, in the future. Also, I want to remind folks that they need to get the signatures of all their neighbors. We know your lot number, so we look at where you live and we can see who's around you. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't have all the signatures, we're going to send it back to you and ask you to go get them. And if you have trouble getting a hold of someone, please go to Takara. She can help reach out to those homeowners. You know, maybe they're like me and they work during the day. So, you know, but she can help you do that if you're having problem reaching somebody. Because remember, your signatures of your neighbors is to alert them of what you want to do. But the second part of that is that if they have any questions, they have a 5-day period in which to submit those questions to the board or to Takara, so that we can kind of flesh that out to see if there's going to be an issue. So that works both ways. So please remember that. So like I said, the big thing is we've got the 2 new documents. Please make sure you go and read those. For next winter, for the holiday season, one thing we did do, we know a lot of people struggle with scheduling those roof line lights to be installed. So we went ahead, because we had some people ask to do that, you know, out of that, outside that window for putting up your holiday decorations outside. So we went ahead in the new standardization and we approved that you can start putting those roof line light strands on your house as early as November 1st. But you still can't turn them on until the requisite time period, but you can start installing them because we know that has to be scheduled. Same thing with the removal of those lights. You still have to turn them off at the 14-day period, but you have until the end of January to schedule getting them off your roof, because we know third-party vendors get booked up. So hopefully this will help alleviate some of that. But again, those details are in the standardization document. So please go ahead and take a look at both that and the frequently asked questions document. And for anyone who's interested in serving on the committee, this fall, we're going to be losing 3 members. So if you're interested in being a part of it or learning more about it, please contact me. Takara can help you with that and be happy to have the new people on board. We go through a little bit of a process, but would like to have some new blood. So pursuant to any questions, that's all I have, Takara.
Perfect, thank you. And as Fiddy did mention, we do have an updated standardization that will go out after this meeting and an e-blast to the community. So you will see that. So it will, as Minnie mentioned, it is posted to the portal, so you can always find it there as well. So next up on our committee list, we have the Landscape Committee, which I believe we saw Craig on the call. Is Craig here?
I'm here.
Hi, Craig.
Hello, everybody. From a landscape standpoint, you know, it's a little bit of a quiet period, if you will, the winter months. But you will definitely see that our vendor is on site a few days a week. They're making their way through the community, trimming the common areas, the grasses, and doing the same thing in parking strips. So slowly but surely, they're making their way throughout the community. Second thing, I think some of you probably have observed that some trees along Oakwood and other streets within the community have had portions of their trunk wrapped. It's as a result of some winter damage that's been done over the last couple of winters where we've had some freezes, and it caused some fissures in the trunks of the trees to the point where the fissures are 3 to 4 inches wide and may run 3 to 4 feet up the trunk of the tree. So if you see that, it's been done to protect those trees and hopefully create greater longevity, but we still run the risk because of the exposure that's happened because of the weather. Some of those trees may fail and will need to be replaced, but we're doing everything to try and make that not happen all at once. All total, we wrap 50 some odd trees, and there's probably a few more that may need to have it done. Next item. As we approach spring, I think two things. We're not going to fire the irrigation system up probably until March, but you are going to see probably during the month of February some work being done by Pacific Landscape Maintenance regarding the time clocks, the control mechanisms, and the IQ cards that have been installed. And the IQ cards are electronic devices that can measure water flow. And if we have a break in a line, the IQ cards actually can activate shutting down the line so that we don't have leakage. And so some of that work's going to be done in February, but it's all basically focused on electronics. We won't turn the water on and probably until the first part of March. And it's all dependent upon the weather. The next item, you probably have seen around the pavilion and around the villages that ice melt's been put down. We have initiated the protocol that we have with Pacific Landscape Management to do that. And that over the last few days, I'm sure if you've been at either one of those locations, you've seen the ice melt. And we'll continue to do that as the weather requires. Next item, just a cautionary statement. As we do begin to move into the spring months and we begin to have flowers begin to blossom in the preserve, caution everybody. We have trails in the preserve. They're rare for a reason. We don't want residents and we don't want residents' animals, specifically dogs, to be off leash and going out into the areas of the preserve, or you as a citizen walking out into the preserve. There are really sensitive wildflowers that are planted throughout that. And when I say planted, not by us, but by Mother Nature. And we need to be really sensitive to that. So again, it's a cautionary statement. Please, please stay on the trails and rein your animals in on leash so that they don't wander out into that area also. And last but not least, kind of like every other committee, we have some people that are naturally rolling off the committee as a result of their 2 years or better of service on our committee. And that will happen this spring. And so we are soliciting new members. And in particular, we would love to have members from the newer divisions, Division 3, and in particular, Division 4, just so that we can say that we have representative from throughout the community. So if there are people that are interested, reach out to myself, Craig Gable, or to Cara, and we can make arrangements to have you come and sit in on one of our committee meetings. We meet on the first Tuesday of every month. And so the next one's coming up here early part of February. That's it for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Craig. Next, we have our communications committee, which is Miriam Hewitt, I believe, is on the call. Miriam, if you would mind unmuting yourself.
I am ready. So thanks, everybody. I just want to give you a few brief updates on behalf of the Communication Committee. We hope you're enjoying the current issue of the Ovation Nation newsletter that's out. It's a January-February issue. We had one of the most popular things I think we publish every once in a while. We had a 2-page spread of recommended restaurants in this newsletter. So if you're new and you want to know where to go out to eat, take a look at that. There we had recommendations for some good books to read from our several book clubs on site, and some reminders about the protocol and etiquette for the residents Facebook group, and a whole lot more information as well. Our next issue will be the March-April issue, and a deadline for submissions for that is going to be around February 15th. We'll make that, the specifics known when we get closer to that date. And we always really appreciate feedback and ideas and contributions for our newsletters too. So keep that in mind. If you have ideas, just reach out to me or anybody else on the committee. And along those lines too, we're going to be working with Takara to send out a short survey about the newsletter in, I'm hoping, the next 2 or 3 weeks. Just kind of asking you, what are the kinds of content that you enjoy the most? Do you have any other ideas? How do you read the newsletter, on what kind of platform, that sort of thing. And so we really appreciate you when you see that. Take a look for that, and just take a few minutes to respond to that for us. It'll help us plan long-term going forward. And lastly, I just want to remind you about the Ovation Nation handbook that we on the communication put together. There was a December 15th updated version. We posted it on the portal, and it's also on the files tab of our Facebook residents group. It's just a really good overview of contact information for Taylor Morrison, for the HOA, for local resources, utilities, a little bit of information about each of the HOA committees and what resources they have available for you. So I really encourage you to take a look at that on the portal. It's also on the files tab of the residents page. And there are sample books printed out at the front desk of each of the pavilion and the villages. So that's about it for me, Takara. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Miriam. And just a note in the chat, people are asking about how they receive the newsletter. Just for anyone that is not familiar, the printed copies are in the villages or the pavilion while we have them, but we also email it out to our residents electronically so that they can receive that PDF copy in their inbox and review it before the printed versions come on site. So with that, we are going to transition to our next and last committee, the amenities committee, which I believe, Belle, you are on this call. Maybe somebody from the amenities committee.
She's on the call. She's trying to unmute herself. I can see her. There
we go.
There we are.
Hear me? Hi, I'm Belle with the Amenities Committee. We're a fairly new committee. We're currently working on the pavilion reservations forms and updates, and that's our number one thing that we hope to submit all that new stuff to the board by the end of February and to Takara. We're going to reinstate the post-usage inspection to hopefully alleviate a lot of the damage and stuff like that that's going on. And we will be officially approved as a committee today in your meeting. And I guess ours is short and sweet. I know they wanted us to bring this up to the entire community as a whole, that we love to see more people using the villages and the pavilion. And it's really nice to see groups coming up here and getting together and meeting and using all the facilities. But we'd also like you to remember that it is our community and to take the care that you would when using the facilities. And if you see something that's damaged, please report it to Takara or leave her a message or send her an email. Or we know accidents happen. If you accidentally, fall into something and break it, or, if something happens, please report it and don't just walk away, because we have been finding damage to things, and it's a lot easier to take care of it if we know when it happened, how it happened, and not, find it later. So if you see it, report it, or if you did do the damage yourself, just say my bad and let somebody know you did it, because we know it happens. But otherwise, we're working diligently for you on the amenities, and I know there's a lot more to come in the board about the amenities, but as a committee, that's what we're doing. And we appreciate the community, and we love our villages and our pavilion. We love using it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. All right. We are going to shift gears. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys again. And we're going to jump back in to the manager's report. So for your manager's report, just so you know, we have a handyman that is scheduled to come do a variety of items within the villages and the pavilion. We are working on finalizing a date and time that he is available to be on site. If you notice something that you think needs attention, please feel free to email that over to me, hopefully by the end of this week, so that we can get it in on this rotation of handyman service. And hopefully it won't take too long to be able to get that resolved. Just a couple updates and reminders. Please make sure, and as you know, Belle just graciously mentioned, please make sure that you guys are taking care of your amenities and that you're cleaning up after yourselves. This also includes your personal dishes. So if you come into the villages or the pavilion and you have used one of the mugs or a cup or a plate, and you notice that the dishwasher is full, please run it and utilize the little tab that's there to switch it from dirty to clean, so that somebody coming in after knows that those dishes have been run. And if you happen to stumble upon the villages and the dishwasher has been run and it is clean, take a moment to help your community out by unloading that, so that everyone has clean and fresh dishes every time they come up here. As Craig mentioned in his landscape report, please make sure that your pets are always on their leash when they're in common areas, and especially the preserve. This is a really critical time right now, as well. As he mentioned, those beautiful wildflowers that we all are so thankful for are starting to bud up and come up. So we want to make sure that we're not doing any damage to those fresh flowers that are coming. So please make sure that you are being mindful of that, staying on the trails. And please remember that as owners of pets, it is your responsibility to clean up after your pets and to ensure that your pets are not utilizing your neighbors' yards, if possible. Next, we are going to be talking about some villages security. So fob access. The first thing on the list is I would like to ask all of you to be mindful of holding the door open for individuals when you are entering and exiting the amenities. We are understanding that, if you know the person that's coming in behind you or leaving at the same time as you, we appreciate that. But there are some people that we have noticed that are gaining access to the amenity, and not in a bad way, but they're wanting to wander through and take a look. So we just ask that you be mindful of, if you're letting somebody in, especially after hours, that it's somebody in the community that you know. If it's not, feel free to introduce yourself. It's a great way to get to know your fellow community members. Next, we are in the process of installing exterior security cameras up here at the villages. That is one of the tasks that the handyman will be working on. That information, it's not for us to monitor anyone in any capacity. That information will go up onto the cloud and it'll be available to us should something happen. So we do have that documentation of, if we find, a damage to the exterior or something goes missing and we need to, do a report. It's not that we will look at it unless we need to. And at this time, those cameras will be on the exterior of the building. Again, don't have any specifics to share at this time, but it is something that you will see coming in the future. And last but not least, wear and tear. As you guys can tell, the pavilion, we've had a really great long run with all of the beautiful furniture and all of the decorations. But because of excessive wear and tear, they are starting to look a little worn down, used, loved. So as you are utilizing the villages, we ask that you take extreme care in treating it as if it is a part of an extension of your home. So, using gentleness as you're closing and opening the doors, making sure that you're putting things back where they belong. We want to make sure that we get the longest lasting value for our amenity center as possible, so that we don't have to accrue any costs of replacing things while it's still so beautiful. So that covers that topic. Now we're going to talk about the music inside the amenities. I will regularly get requests from various homeowners asking me to turn off the music. That is not something that we have been directed by Taylor Morrison to do. I'm always happy to change a station or turn down the volume, but for every homeowner that asks me to do something opposite, the other person asks for something equally opposite. So in that, we are going to be taking into consideration the Taylor Morrison direction to have music playing within our amenities at all times. If you would like the music changed again, I'm more than happy to show you how to utilize the iPad that is next to the TV in the lobby of the fitness building to change that music out and control it for your individual preference. But again, we will be playing that lovely music at a light background noise in the background. Then moving on, pavilion, just so you guys know, we've had quite a few pavilion private requests over the holidays, which is fantastic. We love seeing you guys use that space, but we ask that everybody that utilizes the pavilion, whether you're a club or a private event, you guys take the time to do a walk before you exit to ensure that you are leaving the space just as you found it, if not better, for the next person coming in behind you. And that also includes making sure that the doors are locked. This includes the accordion doors. That is a door that does not have fob access. And when it is not secured or locked, that leaves the entire building unsecured. So please, 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 before you leave, double check that all the doors are closed behind you. If you open something, make sure that it is locked properly. If you use something, make sure it gets put away efficiently. Hate to be like a little bit of a bearer of bad news, but we all need to be a little reminder for the start of 2025 so that we can maintain this beautiful facility for as long as we possibly can. So those are my updates on that. If there's no questions or comments from the board, I'll move on to my lifestyle. Perfect. So for our lifestyle update, we are in the process of updating our fitness class schedule. We really want to have that dialed in before we roll it out to the community so that we can make sure that we have every aspect of it thought through and have an understanding of how it's going to work so we don't have to take it back. So as some of you have noticed, we have some homeowners that are certified and insured that have been inviting their fellow community members to engage in some classes with them. That is unofficial HOA business, but it is also allowed because those homeowners are residents within the community that are donating their time to their fellow community members. So we are aware of it. We are working towards integrating into an actual calendar that hopefully we'll be able to send out to the community sooner rather than later. Additionally, once we have that calendar posted, not only will we email it out as you receive your lifestyle calendar now, we will have that posted on the main lobby TV in the fitness center. So you'll always be able to be up to date on what classes are happening and where. One other thing for you, excuse me, for the classes is that they will be moving forward at this time, first come, first serve. We will not accept any reservations for any classes that we will be doing in the future. We think that that is the fairest way to do this at this time. Now, after some time has passed, if we receive feedback that it needs to be readdressed, we are more than happy to take that into consideration, but that's where we're at this stage. Excuse me. Next, we're going to talk about the pool usage. I know that everyone received the notification back when we opened the pool that we would not be opening the pool to any outside guests or grandchildren for the first 30 to 45 days. We are still working on that. And just to be very clear so everyone understands, this is new construction. The pool has to go through a certain cycle of use before we can really truly consider it dialed in. And that includes, with the individuals that come in and use it, that affects the amount of chemicals that we use, and that affects our bottom line and costs associated with running the pool. So we have not forgotten. We have not ignored it. We are just still working towards a definitive answer. Once we have that finalized, again, we will send out a calendar that will outline that pool usage for the community. We ask all community members to be mindful and follow that. And if you notice somebody that is not following our timelines or our schedule that we're suggesting, please just mention it to them. It doesn't have to be a altercation or any sort of negative conversation. It might just be a gentle reminder or information. So we ask you guys to take that into consideration. Next, more fun stuff. We are going to be getting ready to assign our wine lockers that are in the main banquet hall here at the Villages. We are still working through a couple details, but what we are thinking is that we will send an invitation to any community member that is interested in having a 1 year rental for that locker. And then you'll have to put your name in, and then we will randomly draw like a lottery system for those lockers for all interested parties. We are hoping to have this kind of outlined and put into place early February. And we are anticipating that the wine locker rental will be from year to year. There will be some exclusions. We will not allow any food in there because we don't want crawlers or creepers, anything like that. And then we're also asking that they specifically be utilized for a beverage locker. So more information to come on that. If you have ideas or suggestions, you're more than welcome to send that over for consideration. We're again still just trying to figure out how to best utilize every aspect of our amenity. Last but not least, for that fun topic, well, not last but not least, upcoming events. As you noticed in my last email regarding the wine tasting, we are getting to a stage where we are so large with such a wonderful community that we're going to start requiring RSVPs for limited space events. And in turn with that, if you are granted a spot for something that has an RSVP, if you have an RSVP and you are not able to make the event and you do not let us know prior to the event taking place for us to refill the spot with a community member, you might not be able to RSVP for events in the future. We definitely don't want this to be that we are restricting anyone from utilizing the lifestyle programming, but we definitely want everyone to take into consideration that we are limited in what we can and cannot accommodate within our spaces. So just consider your fellow community member when making your plans. So if you RSVP and you realize that 2 days before the event you can't make it, please let me know, just so that we can open that space up, like I said, for another community member. As for your lifestyle manager, we officially have posted the lifestyle position. It is active online right now. I believe it is searchable through Indeed, and we have received quite a few applicants. We have not had the opportunity to review them yet. So hopefully one of those applicants will be a great fit for this community. And they'll be able to start sooner rather than later to kind of work through getting some more fun programming in here now that we have this beautiful facility. So if you know any interested individuals that are not HOA homeowners, please send them our way, have them search on Indeed and take a look at the description and let us know if they're interested. Last but not least, so we have two more, sorry guys. Pickleball gate. So as you may or may not have noticed is that over the holiday break, the installer for the gate system at the pickleball courts installed a gate that also has a combination. We will be sending out that combination to the community after this board meeting. It is not one that we were able to customize and change to be like our other codes. So it is going to be a one-off code. That email will go out. We ask that once that email has gone out and everyone has access to that code, no one posts the code on the doors. And we ask that you start utilizing that gate to ensure that the pickleball courts are locked and secured at the end of your game. So again, that email will go out either tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. So everyone will have access to that gate code. But again, please do not post it. It will be also on the portal for easy access. And now, last but not least, we just want to talk about the fact that the Villages is our community hub. We understand that everyone loves this space and we want everyone to enjoy every aspect of it, but we also want to keep in mind that we want to have it be available to all homeowners at all times. So that includes no private events or activities up here. You're more than welcome to utilize the space. If it's available, we ask that you be mindful of your fellow community members around you. It's the banquet hall is a very large space. There's plenty of little seating areas. So please don't host private confidential meetings in that space because it is not a private or confidential area. It is intended to be a community gathering space for all individuals. And now I think I'm officially done with that.
Actually, Takara, there was something in the chat that
Okay.
wanted about the grab bars at the pool.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I did not see that. My apologies. So the grab bars at the pool, they have been installed or reinstalled and changed. We're not exactly sure how the piece broke and caused it to become loose, but those have all been replaced. And they have all been checked by the installer who was here on site last week. Anything else that
Give me a second.
actually I'll give one last update while you look through the
Yeah.
chat for me. You may or may not have seen my e-blast that went out this afternoon. The outdoor spot is currently closed. We had the installer down here to do some maintenance, and they found a crack on a piece of equipment that they didn't have the piece to replace it at that moment. So they are in the process of getting that piece back down to us and getting that changed out. Unfortunately, the piece is crucial to ensuring that the chemicals are circulated through the spa appropriately. And so we are not able to open that spa back out. We are completely out of compliance with the Department of Health until that piece is reinstalled. As soon as I have an update on timeline, or as soon as I have an opening date, I will make sure that everyone is aware of that, so that they can, get right back to using that amenity. So we apologize in advance, but we definitely wanted to get this resolved sooner rather than later, so that there was no further delays to being able to utilize it.
And as in Takara mentioned in her e-blast, it's under warranty. So this is not a cost to the association. So just, I know that's an important factor that we all take into consideration. So I want to just reiterate what she had said. I think we have, I don't have very many Taylor Morrison updates because we don't have to talk about the pool not being open. Yay. New topic for 2025, the pool gate. I know we all have mixed thoughts and opinions on it. I have my own slew as well. So yay, we get to move on. So there's only a few updates. It looks like we are going to be going to sale on some Division 5 lots in the near future. I don't know exactly if that's this weekend, next weekend, but soon. So you're going to start to see more activity in that area as well. And you may see it online for those of you that still receive marketing emails and whatnot. It'll get announced through that platform. And then the only other update I had was from the land development team. So for those who have been around for a while and have seen the grand schematic, which there is not a good one, it's really like a lot of little things on a small piece of paper that shows the master plan. So, and I get asked all the time, is there a better one? And I wish I could say yes, but there isn't. What was used to be formerly known as Division 8, which is kind of a swath of land that kind of is in that power line-ish area. It's adjacent to it. Since we're going to be moving forward with development in that area, Thurston County wants them consecutive, so they're now referring to it as Div 6. So Div 8, formerly known as Div 8, is now Div 6. So we're going to be actively starting some development. So for those of you who are a little bit closer to that area, the land team said that probably mid-February, you're going to start to see a little activity and movement. They're slated to possibly put in 30 plus or minus homes. They're still working on lot fits and all that jazz. So that's an area that will originally had been for those who bought in at the early stages, it never was, we weren't quite sure what we were going to do with that area. It was always left at a possibility that we would put homes there. So we are going to be putting more homes there, which only benefits you as an association, because that just means we have more members contributing and helping with the total count. So for those who live close to there, early February, and then some of you have already noticed in areas of Division 5, they're building a trail. So there is going to be some sort of a trail kind of along that power line area as well. It's kind of a meandering walkway path with occasional benches and just sort of, so you might see some clearing in an area adjacent to that PSE area of the power lines. That is okay. We have permission to do a little bit of clearing. It's to help us develop out that area. So that's pretty much what they've provided me so far. I'm sure I'll have more to speak to that in April because they'll be actively going. So I'll have probably more to share on that front. Takara, actually, I want to pivot back real quick. There was something in the chat that I know you and I had talked about as well. So why don't you go ahead and tackle that? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So thank you. I actually meant to bring that up during my report, but thank you for referencing it. So there has been a lot of questions about whether or not the pool is within the temperature range. It is. So we have always agreed that our pool would be within the range of 80 to 85 degrees. Now we do know that with the, with more usage, people moving around in there, the temperature is going to fluctuate. We are working on ordering a little thermometer to put in the pool so that you all can reference that thermometer. We ask that homeowners do not bring their own thermometers here for multiple reasons. One, it's not sanitary. We don't want to have that in our pool to throw off our chemicals. Bless you all, but no, thank you. Next is if your thermometer has any sort of glass and it breaks and it falls into the pool, we then have to shut down our pool, drain it, and clean it completely out. So there's multiple reasons why we ask that you do not bring your thermometer. You can continue to tell me if you think that it is not warm enough, and I can go in and manually check the temperature. You can shoot me a message if it's when I'm not here in hours. So we are monitoring it. We've gotten that feedback from you, but I can't stress this enough. Some people will tell me that the pool is now too cold, where another handful of people will tell me that the temperature is exactly perfect. So we are still working on dialing in this amenity for all homeowners. So please take that into consideration. I know that some people like it nice and warm like bath water. Some people want it cooler for exercise. We're doing our best to accommodate everyone, but please don't bring your thermometers in and test the pool. Please don't do that. And secondly, we will install one so that you guys can monitor that and check the temperature to see what it's at before you pop in, because any given day it can fluctuate from 80 to 85 to back down to 82. It is never going to be a 100% guarantee at one temperature every single day. Okay.
All right. So it looks like we're basically old business, which takes us right into the new business. So we'll just hop to that. And that is the election advisory group. And I'm sure they're going to be updating us and talking to us about our board candidate election in February. So I think I saw Kathy and Robin together on the call earlier. Oh, there they are. You go ahead and mute yourself.
Good.
Perfect.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, okay. So I know it's getting late, so I'm just gonna run through 3 different items for everyone. The first one is the candidate filing date ended on January 15th, and we have 2 candidates, which we would like to welcome Stan Trask and Joan Crenshaw, which I believe they might be on here. They are on
They
the
are.
call.
Yep, they are.
And the second item would be campaign guidelines that were put together by the board and the election advisory committee, which have been shared with both of the candidates. And lastly, for my part, ballot packets will be put together January 30th, this coming week, and the EAG will be putting those together and mailing them by February 3rd. By doing this, eliminating the fulfillment house and savings for the HOA and a more timely delivery. What will be in that packet is a ballot or proxy, instructions to the voters, and a bio with a picture of the candidates. Any questions on that?
No. So let's talk about what's coming up, because this is pretty exciting. First of all, we're going to meet our candidates, which Robin and I are so excited about. But what we want to talk about is that in the information you're getting in the packet, first of all, it's very important that you go through that carefully, because there will be a proxy ballot, and that proxy ballot requires that it is in by February 24th at 5 p.m. If it's not, your proxy won't count. And if you have any questions on how to fill that ballot out, please call us. I know people get really confused by it. The simplest thing we can tell you is leave the directed proxy name blank, because a board member will always be at a meeting and you can guarantee that your vote will be cast. If you choose to put a neighbor in and they fall down, break a leg, I don't know, forget,
Don't show up.
that means your vote didn't get cast. So in any case, we're excited about that. More exciting is your chance to meet your candidates, which will be at the town hall on February 11th at 4 p.m. I think the way that we can demonstrate our appreciation to these two individuals who've stepped forward is to be there to meet them and to vote. We need a 25% response as a quorum, or we get to do this all over again. And we've made voting so easy this year that there's really no reason anyone can't vote. You can deliver your proxy by mail, by email, by fax, or you can walk it up to the villages and put it in the ballot box. It's that easy. And all you ought to do is get there by February 24th at 5 p.m. So what happens to those ballots afterwards? The EAG and a representative Nova, which is Takara, right now, we will lock the ballot box in a separate room. We'll do a general count just to see how many ballots we've got in there. Then the next morning, 2 members of the EAG and Takara will actually count the ballots so that they can be sent to the board to be posted during the meeting. If you miss doing any of that, then of course you can attend the Zoom meeting, which will be February 25th at 4 p.m. And then you can cast a voice vote. There is only 1 vote per household. If you choose to vote more than once, then your vote is eliminated, so you didn't get to vote. So we're asking you to please vote by proxy. It's the easiest way to get anything done. And we do have to have a quorum this time, unlike the budget ratification, where if you didn't vote, it was a yes. Now, if you don't vote, it doesn't count, and you're not, and we are not contributing to the quorum. So with that, we hope this is clear. If not, Robin's here, I'm here, other members of the election advisory group are here, and we want to do everything to support our candidates because we are grateful that they've shown such a commitment to this community to step forward. So that's all I have. I think the next is they get to introduce themselves.
I'm going to make one comment before we
Okay.
have the candidates. No, that's okay. So I know there was some people have asked this question. This is to have another homeowner representative join the declarant board, which is myself and 2 other Taylor Morrison colleagues. And then eventually later in the year, we will have another election as Steve Bay will resign from his position. And then we'll have another homeowner election. So just so we know what future planning looks like. So this is to elect another one at this time. And then later in the year, probably closer to end of June, possibly early July-ish, we will have another election. That date hasn't been set yet. So just to clarify that, because I know inquiring minds want to know. So we do have our 2 candidates. Takara, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. So we have both Stan Trask and Joan Crenshaw. So we're going to start with Stan just because he was listed first. So Stan, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the community and also let them know why you are interested in running for the board.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. And my name is Stan Trask, and my wife and I have lived in Ovation Division 3, kind of at the north end of the Arrowroot Loop for almost a year now. And we really enjoy being in this community. We moved from the North Bend, Issaquah area, where we were there for about 17 years prior to that. So a little bit farther south for us, but we really love being down here and love everything about it that we see so far. I have an interest in serving on the HOA board so I can utilize my past business experience and my education for the benefit of the community. And I have significant amount of business experience as well as I've served on 2 HOA boards in the past, one in Kihei, Maui, Hawaii, and one in Peoria, Arizona. So I think anything else, Takara told me to keep it short and sweet. So anything else, I suppose we can discuss at the meeting on the 11th, unless there's any questions today.
That was perfect. Thank you so much, Stan. We really appreciate you taking the time to introduce yourself to the community. And we look forward to chatting with you more on February 11th. Joan, if you would like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the community.
There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to keep this very short because when meetings run long, people fall asleep. I'm Joan Crenshaw, and I've been here for approximately 8 months. I came here from the Monterey Peninsula in California. I definitely enjoying my time here, but the one, other than my hobby, which is getting lost in Lacey. So if you see a Volvo SUV making U-turns, it's probably me. I have never been this lost in my entire life. But one of the things that I did want to say is one of the reasons that I'd like to be on this board is because for me, the idea of becoming part of a community is to become part of the service of the community. And over 30 years in the Monterey Peninsula, I've sat on boards about 21 different times. Everything from a county board to a homeowners association to multiple times on the Junior League of Monterey County. And so for me, it's a great way to get a high level understanding of what's going on and to be able to give back. So that's basically, and it keeps me out of trouble. I think I told that to Takara yesterday that this is mostly about keeping me out of trouble. So, and I do have an enormous amount of time to spare because I am a widow and I'm, great way to learn to meet people. So I appreciate it. And I see you all on the 11th, I hope.
Thank you so much, Joan. And again, thank you, Stan. We appreciate both of you taking the time. As Kathy graciously mentioned in her update, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, you can reach out to myself or a member of the EAG, and we will get you all squared away. All right, so going through the last of our new business really quick, we covered the board candidate introductions. We've covered the board candidate town hall. Thank you, Kathy. And just a reminder, that is February 11th. We've talked about the pool and fitness class schedules. Smitty talked about our ACC standardization updates, which you will receive in your emails. Miriam talked about our upcoming community surveys. So the last two things to go through is our update to the amenity handbook and for the board to approve the amenity committee's charter. So touching base on the amenity handbook really quick, and then I'll pass it off to Jennifer and Steve, if that's okay. Over the last few months, we have solicited feedback from our amenity committee members. And we've also had other homeowners in the community offer their suggestions for us on how we can update our amenity handbook now that we have been living in the amenities and we have a better understanding of how we are utilizing them. So I just want to reiterate to everybody that the next handbook that you will see is very minor changes. It's what we more or less have done is we've just redefined some of the terminology that we've used. We've provided clarification based off of what we've seen as far as the community using the handbook and the actual amenities. And we've kind of elaborated on the spots that we didn't touch on enough in the first go around. Obviously we wrote the amenity handbook before we were actually in the space, and now it's time to just kind of update it based off of that. So we are working towards getting that updated. We will be sending an e-blast out to the community first thing tomorrow morning, asking you that if you have a suggestion of something that you think should be considered as far as an update to the amenity handbook. That does not include programming, scheduling of the amenities, how other people should be utilizing specific things within the amenities. If you have a suggestion of a way that we can keep the integrity of our beautiful amenity and as well as keep our community members safe, we are welcoming that type of feedback. Again, you're more than welcome to respond to the email when you see it go out. It'll come directly to me, and then it'll be presented to the board for their review. So then, last thing on new business is that we need to approve our amenity committee's charter.
I move to adopt the Oak Tree Homeowners Association Amenities Advisory Committee Charter.
I second it.
Hooray. That will
Hooray.
be posted to our portal here within the next day or so. So if you have questions about that amenity committee charter, that's where you'll find it, is in the documents tab on your homeowners portal.
Great. Well, everyone's favorite part of the meeting, homeowner forum. So this is your opportunity if you want to drop something in the chat or unmute yourself. If anyone has any questions, comments, feedback, you're always welcome to send it to Kara. She gets it right to the board, but anyone wants to bring up anything now, a good opportunity. We appreciate the engagement. I know the meeting's running a little bit longer, but as we continue to have more individuals and more homeowners join our community, we have more business. So bound to happen here and there, but we will try to do our best to be brief as much as possible. Well, we're quiet today, and that's okay. Someone will remember something after the fact, which is great. But I don't want everyone just staring at each other. So last call. Oh, well, here we go.
Sorry. And I will keep it short. I've used the pool a couple of times and I put a question in, but apparently it got in there a little too late to get to the board. It's regarding the rust and the vacuuming of the pool.
So I'll speak to that if you don't mind, board, really quick. So the rust. So the installer was down on site when he was replacing the grab bars, the brackets for the grab bars. And there is a stainless steel cleaner that they assure us will take those dark spots off. I have asked my cleaning crew to find that solution and start to apply it. So we will be monitoring that to ensure that that is actually taking that out. More information to come. Thank you, Chris, for bringing that up. And then, well, I'm sorry, the vacuuming at the bottom of the pool. We are noticing right now specifically that there is a lot of what they call construction debris that is working its way through the pump. So we are going to see an influx of that. My pool guy is here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So you might also see him vacuuming out the pool should you come early in the mornings on one of those days. He is monitoring that, but as we get through that debris, as it works its way through the pumping and the filtration systems, we might see that at the bottom of the pool. Please just let me know. Clearly, I am not spending any time whatsoever in the pool, so I have no idea to the condition of the bottom of the pool. So if you find that it needs a little extra attention, please let me know. I'm more than happy to facilitate that conversation so that we can get that resolved.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing in the chat, somebody asked about getting a bin for lost and found somewhere in the villages. We always err on the side of, if you find something, please utilize the Ovation residence page to try to connect with your fellow community members. We do not take, because we're not staffed, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's really difficult to take a lost and found item. Whereas if you have it and you can post it on the community page, you're more likely to be able to get in contact with that individual faster than we might be able to. The exception to that is fobs. If you ever find a fob, I can actually look up who that fob belongs to in our system based off of the way that it reads on our card readers, and I can get that back to the individual. So please keep that in mind. As far as house keys or mailbox keys, we try not to accept those, just because if somebody realizes that they've lost it on my weekend or after hours, they have to wait until I'm back on site. So hope that answers your question. Again, we try not to have a lost and found bin because we do not want it to look unkept, for as we are still doing tours with prospects that are coming through that we want to buy into the community. We want it to look as pristine and beautiful for them at all times as possible.
Quick question. I don't know who to direct this to. Our garbage cans, I've noticed that more and more community members are keeping them along the side of their house, outside of their fence. Is there a regulation as to they're supposed to be behind the gate or in your garage? Because it's not very sightly to see the garbage on the side of the house, and I thought that's why we fenced everybody in. And is it possible to send out an e-blast about that? Because it's becoming more and more frequent that people have their backyards done and then they don't want to take their garbage cans back there, and so they're leaving them on the side of the house.
Belle, that is great feedback, and actually it reminds me that I should address that. Once we have a new lifestyle manager on site, I will be out doing regular compliance for making sure that all homeowners are following our standardizations. So if you are not sure if you're in compliance, or if you're not sure if your neighbor is in compliance, feel free to reach out or go on the portal under documents, under ACC, and find the standardizations and review the different topics to see what that looks like. But yes, thank you, Belle. Please, everyone, remember that after the trash is picked up, please move your cans back behind your fence or into your garage. Again, I will be out in the community far more once we rehire the lifestyle position to be able to ensure and enforce compliance. Okay, anybody else?
Good questions. Good questions. All right, well, I guess I will formally adjourn us at 5:24 p.m. Anyone thinks of anything, please forward over to Kara or post it in the portal. Actually, that's really great for us because we get reminders, we get alerts, and then it's trackable. And so then we make sure that we do get you a great response and you have record of that response. So we like that. So please do that as well. Great meeting. More to come. We're excited about 2025 now that we've gotten past some hurdles of 2024. So yay, Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye,
Have a good
everyone.
evening. Bye.
See you.